What is going on, guys? Eric White in the building, and no, I did not choose my last name, unfortunately. And today we are going to be talking about a walkthrough tutorial slash just a quick little video about how I color grade my footage. Now, before we get into it, I want to let you guys know that this is how I color grade my footage. This is how I would do it. I'm not a pro colorist. I don't do this every single day, and I'm not the best at this. I'm still learning, but this is how I go about doing it, and I've been doing it like this for the past 6 months, and it's probably likely to change within the next 6 months. So I just wanted to let you guys know that it's probably not going to be perfect. You might do things differently. You might do things the same. This is just going to be how I color grade my footage. Now, the second thing is going to be all of this color grading is going to be done inside of DaVinci Resolve. Now, that basically means that if you haven't tried DaVinci Resolve yet, this would be the perfect time to download it. It's completely free. You can try it. They have pretty much every tool that you could want, the same as Final Cut, the same as Premiere. It literally has everything that you could want inside of a software. And two, that means if you're going to be following along, if you have Premiere Pro, if you have Final Cut, if you have Avid, all those other softwares, the tools that I'm going to be talking about are going to be basically the same. You just have to go about them a different way. You might have to go into a different tab. You might have to open up something different. It's going to be the same thing for the most part, but it's just going to be done in a different way inside of that specific editing software. But I'm going to be using DaVinci Resolve for this tutorial. Now, the last thing is this is not going to be an in-depth tutorial. If you look at the bottom and see how long the video is, there's obviously not a lot of time because I don't want to go into depth about everything that is color grading. One, because I'm not the best at it yet, and two, because that would make this video at least half an hour, and I don't feel like making this video that long. I just want to show you guys a really quick walkthrough and tutorial about how I color grade my footage. Maybe you know some things and you just want to know how someone else does it. This is going to be that video. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright guys, so we are here in front of DaVinci Resolve 17, and we are just going to go ahead and jump right into this. Now, this is the very first shot that you saw at the beginning of this video, and we're going to go ahead and color grade this one first. So I'm going to park it on the hero frame, which is just the best frame out of the whole video. We're going to Alt S, and then we're going to go to this very first node. I'm going to go to the Open Effects tab and drag in the color space transform, and this is going to accomplish so much for us without having to do a whole bunch. So if you know what camera you shot with, so I shot with the Fujifilm X-T4 and I know what color space it was. If you know what camera you shot with and you shot log footage, this thing will make anything so much easier for you. So input color space, Rec 2020, that's what this camera shoots in. And then I go to input gamma, and the gamma was the Fujifilm F-Log. And immediately it just brings everything to the Rec 709 color space, which is what we really want. Tone mapping, you can go with whichever one you want, whichever works for you. I usually go with luminance mapping. And we're gonna go to the second node right here, and this is very optional. You don't have to do this for every single video, but I like to add a vignette to my videos just because it makes the eye go to where you want it to. So I'm gonna invert this, and then I'm gonna go to offset and just drag this down just a tiny bit. This video is actually relatively low, so it's not really exposed super high, so you're not gonna notice that big of a difference. So if I turn it off and then on, off, on, it just focuses your eye on my face a lot more, and it's just those subtle things that make a difference. So that's very optional. You don't have to do that. And then we're gonna go to this last node. This is where I add my LUT, and the reason why I add it to the very last node is because if I added it to the beginning, all I would be doing would be adjusting the LUT after that, and it would make the image look awful. I always add it at the end as the final touch. You can add it at the beginning, you know, if it's an instance that you needed to, or you know, if you know what you're doing, but I like to generally add it at the end just because it just makes the image look a lot better. I'm actually gonna bring this up a tiny bit just because things are a little bit too dark. There we go. All right. And that's pretty much how I color grade my talking head stuff. Super easy. You only need 2 nodes for it, so you know that's always a win. The less work, the better. So here's the LUTs that I added, and then the vignette, and then the Rec 709 color correction, the color space transform. So once you add that all back, that's what you get. So super easy. We're gonna jump into the next clip. This is a video that I took a little while ago. I want to say around December-ish. It's just someone doing some boxes. All right, we're gonna park it right there. We're gonna go Alt S, get those nodes out. We're gonna go to Open Effects, Color Space Transform. We're gonna go to Rec 2020, Fujifilm F-Log, Luminance Mapping, and then we're gonna start correcting this. Now, if you look down here on the scopes on the parade right here, you're gonna see that nothing is touching the 0, meaning that there's really no dark parts. There's no dark areas in this image. It's all up here in the 896 IRE. So we're gonna bring this down just a little bit. So we're gonna drag this in the curves and just drag it down until the red touches. And you'll see that this blue right here isn't touching, but the red and green are. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into this third node and we're gonna pull that blue down. Basically what this means is there's a lot of blue in the shadows, and so we're just gonna bring that down. So if you drag this down until it's touching, but not too much because you'll be introducing green. If you drag it down enough, I think right there should be good. And if we toggle it on and off, you'll see that it just takes some blue out of the shadows. And it takes that blue tint out of it. It looks a lot cleaner. I'm actually gonna do this a little bit less just because I think I added some green to it. And then there we go. And then what we're gonna do, add one more node. I'm gonna make this just a tiny bit warmer. It was a cool day, so you know it's naturally gonna be blue, but I wanna warm it up just a tiny bit. And then like we did for the last one, we're gonna add that vignette, which you don't have to do, but I love doing it. I'm gonna put it right there on his eyeball. I'm gonna invert it, and I'm gonna go to offset and bring the exposure down, and you're gonna see what this does. So this is with the vignette on, off. You'll see that everything is perfectly exposed and you don't know what to look at, but as soon as I flip it back on, your eye automatically goes to him right there. I can actually bring this down just a tiny bit more. Nothing too crazy though. And that's pretty much it. And then the last node that we're gonna do right here, this is very optional. You can leave it right here if you wanted to. I'm actually perfectly fine with this, but if you wanted to, you can add this chrome, or you can add this classic teal and orange. This one is a little bit too aggressive, but vintage chrome, oh yeah, I really don't like that. So we're actually just gonna leave it right there. I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. If you wanted to, you can add a LUT that you have. I always do it at the end. And we're gonna jump into this last clip right here. Alt S, get those nodes out, go to clip 1 or node 1, color space transform, go to Rec 2020, Fujifilm F-Log, luminance mapping, and there we go. It is all color corrected for us, or not color corrected, but it's fixed for us a little bit. And like we saw in the last one, these aren't touching 0, so we're just gonna bring them down so there's more dynamic range in there. And then we see that the blue isn't all the way touching, which means that there's a tiny bit of blue in the shadows that we're just gonna pull out really quick. So we're gonna click the blue right here, drag this down, and there we go. All right. And I know I do this in every single clip, but it's such a useful tool. We're gonna get that vignette tool out again. We're gonna feather it, put it right there on his head. We're gonna click that and invert it. We're gonna get this offset and we're just gonna drag it down. And look at that. That looks so nice. All right, and then the very last step, which you can do, once again, you don't have to do this, but I do this on pretty much all my clips, is add that color grade to it. And this just really brings it to life. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how I do all my clips. But yeah, that is pretty much how I color grade all of my videos. I've been doing this for the past 6 months and it's been working really, really well for me. It's a lot easier in DaVinci than it is for Premiere. So I might be switching to DaVinci for a majority of my video editing in general, just because it's easier to color grade on here. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. If you guys did, make sure to go down below, click that like button. And if you guys are new, click somewhere, join Innovation Nation. And just like always, I see you guys in the next one.